Most of us start our day defeated by a chaotic alarm and a scrolling habit that drains our focus before we leave our bed. But what if you could reclaim your morning using a 1400-year-old blueprint for peak productivity? By retracing the Prophet ﷺ's dawn movements, we transition from modern exhaustion to divine alignment. On ordinary nights, the Prophet ﷺ would sleep in the early part of the night, then rise in the final third, when the world was completely still. The first thing he did upon waking was wipe the sleep from his face with his hand, then recite the last 10 verses of Surah Al-Imran as recorded in Sahih Bukhari and Muslim. These verses, which highlight Allah's creation and encourage contemplation, moved him deeply, and scholars consider reciting them upon waking a mustahab, a recommended practice. Then he would make wudu. Wudu was not merely a prerequisite for salah. The Prophet ﷺ said, "His ummah will be recognized on the Day of Judgment by the light of their wudu." The gura, those traces of this quiet, private act of preparation. Each limb washed with intention. A deliberate crossing from one state into another before standing before Allah. Then he would stand to pray. Up to 13 rakas of Tahajjud, Shaf, and Witr, alone with Allah in the silence of the final third of the night. This is the hour Allah described in the Quran as belonging to those who seek forgiveness before dawn. The hour in which, as narrated by Abu Huraira radiallahu anhu in both Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim, Allah descends in a manner befitting His Majesty and calls, "Who is calling upon me that I may answer? Who is asking of me that I may give? Who is seeking my forgiveness that I may forgive?" The clarity, the patience, the leadership the Prophet ﷺ carried through his days. It was all built here, in the dark, in sujood, before anyone else was awake. After Tahajjud and Witr, the Prophet ﷺ would rest, and when the time of Fajr approached, he would rise again. The first act of preparation for Fajr was the Siwak. The Prophet ﷺ said, "The Siwak purifies the mouth and pleases the Lord." He was so consistent with it that Aisha radiallahu anha narrated he used it at every waking, whether during the night or at dawn. He wanted it to be obligatory before every salah, and only held back out of fear it would become too difficult for his ummah to bear. Modern research has since confirmed the science behind it. Scientific studies have confirmed the Siwak's antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral, and anti-plaque properties. The World Health Organization has recommended and encouraged the use of Miswak as an effective tool for oral hygiene, and multiple studies have concluded it is as effective as, or even superior to, the modern toothbrush. The mouth is the instrument through which Allah's name is spoken and the Quran is recited, and before the first communal meeting of the day, Fajr in congregation, he ensured it was clean and prepared. Before leaving for the masjid, the Prophet ﷺ prayed the 2 Sunnah rakahs of Fajr at home. Of all voluntary prayers, Aisha radiallahu anha narrated he was never more consistent about anything than these 2. The Prophet ﷺ said, "The 2 Sunnah rakahs of Fajr are better than this world and everything in it." Then he went to the masjid and led the fard in congregation, every single day. The fard is the obligation, the non-negotiable. The Prophet ﷺ said that whoever prays Isha in congregation, it is as if he prayed half the night, and whoever then prays Fajr in congregation, the entire night. And he was clear that abandoning it was among the signs of hypocrisy, not because the prayer itself is difficult, but because waking for it requires choosing Allah over sleep and comfort every single morning. That choice, made consistently, is what builds a person over time. After Fajr, the Prophet ﷺ remained in his place of prayer. His companions gathered around him, They sat together in dhikr and remembrance, sometimes discussing knowledge, sometimes in warm conversation, sometimes interpreting dreams, until the sun had fully risen. Then he prayed 2 rakahs of Ishraq. The Prophet ﷺ described this practice in Hadith recorded by Tirmidhi, that whoever prays Fajr in congregation remains in remembrance of Allah until the sun rises, then prays 2 rakahs, will have the reward of a complete Hajj and Umrah every single morning. About the early morning hours specifically, he made dua, "O Allah, bless my Ummah in their early mornings." Every mission he dispatched, he did so in the early hours, acting on what he prayed for. Ibn al-Qayyim recorded that the early generations refused to sleep after Fajr, even when exhausted, because they understood the morning as the mold the rest of the day is poured into. The morning adhkar specifically, recited in that post-Fajr stillness, are armor. The Prophet ﷺ described them as protection for the day ahead, and scholars noted this hour as unmatched for Quran recitation and memorization. The mind after Fajr, before the world's demands begin, absorbs and retains more deeply. These are not separate routines. They are one system. Tahajjud builds the private relationship with Allah before the day begins. Siwak and Wudu prepare the body and soul before entering worship. Fajr fulfills the obligation and anchors the morning in Allah's remembrance. The post-Fajr hour protects everything built through the night before the world takes over. Each step holds the next one in place. The Prophet ﷺ said, "The most beloved deeds to Allah are the most consistent, even if they are small. Start with one, then build. May Allah grant us the ability to rise for Him, to guard our mornings, and to carry the light of the Sunnah into every hour that follows. Ameen."